Hey everyone, Aaron here from MTGChallengers, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering deck tech. Today I'll be going over Bant Midrange for Born of the Gods Standard. So this is a deck that me and Matthew put together. While it was a fairly small set, Born of the Gods provided a lot of really useful and powerful cards in the colors of white, blue, and green that makes this a very competitive, good deck in my opinion. So starting off with the creatures, I have 4 copies of Sylvan Caryatid. This was pretty obvious. Basically every green-based mid-range deck is playing 4 of these, since there's no more Farseek. It fixes you, and it can be a good blocker against aggressive decks with 3 toughness. Next up, I have 4 copies of Voice of Resurgence. Just an absurdly powerful card, and it works especially well here. Disrupts both control and aggressive strategies by either forcing them into a 2-for-1 or being able to block 2 creatures, or to mess up the plays that they wanted to do with spells during my turn. The tokens can also greatly benefit from Brimaz, King of Oreskos, and Elspeth, since they produce a ton of creatures that will buff up the elemental it leaves behind. And he's also an ideal target for sacrificing outlets like Mogus, God of Slaughter, and Desecration Demon. For the 3-drops, I have 4 Courser of Kruphix, one of the new cards from Born of the Gods. A really interesting card, I must say, and green-based midrange is really where he belongs. Playing with the top card of your library revealed is pretty cool. It basically gives you a pseudo extra card in your hand. Sure, your opponent can see it too, but since you can look at your hand as well as the battlefield, you'll be benefiting more from the information than they will. It allows you to play lands from the top of your library rather than from your hand, which is awesome for deck thinning. Also, if the land on top of your library is going to produce a color that you need, you can go ahead and play it from the top of your library if you don't have it in your hand, so it can fix you in that sense as well. It helps you hit all your land drops, and the 1 life you gain is a nice bonus, and it synergizes with Kiora pretty nicely. And to top all that off, he has 4 toughness, which makes for a very solid blocker. The other 3-drop I have in here is another new card from Born of the Gods, Brimaz, King of Oreskos, running 3 copies of him. I ran 4 in my white weenie deck, but his use here is a little different. Rather than being a necessary win condition, he's really just an insane card that happens to be in the colors that we're playing. 3 is a really nice number for this deck since he is legendary, and I had to make room for some other cards. As for the card itself, it shouldn't require much explanation at all, it's just completely ridiculous. It pumps out creatures like crazy, and everything has vigilance, which is great for mid-range decks since they can attack and block back-to-back turns, so you can block their stuff and put pressure on them without having any breaks. He's also just utterly superior to any kind of little aggressive creatures, and he's just all around sick. The final creature I have is Polukranos, World Eater, 3 copies of him. Really good creature for mid-range. Since we are running 25 lands, along with Caryatids, Coursers, and Kiora, we're going to have a good deal of mana on the field mid to late game, so his Monstrous is really good, can take advantage of that. We can't abuse him quite as much as Mono Green can, so that's why he's only a 3 of as opposed to a playset. He's also a 5/5 for 4, which is really nice. So that's it for creatures. Moving on to the other spells, I have 3 Detention Sphere. You gotta have some removal, and it's arguably one of the best removal spells in the format right now. It gets rid of just about everything from pack rats to the gods to multiple Elspeth tokens. It's just really awesome. Then I have a playset of Sphinx's Revelation. This card shouldn't require much explanation. It's a pillar of standard, and it has been since it was printed. It's mostly seen in control, but hey, Sphinx's Revelation is Sphinx's Revelation. Mid to late game, you're running out of answers, running out of steam in your hand, low on life. You can just tap out at the end of their turn and just draw a whole bunch of cards and gain a whole bunch of life, which is always awesome. Then I have a playset of Advent of the Wurm. The card is just so good. 4 mana for a 5/5 Trampler at instant speed is absolutely worth the 4 slots in any deck with green-white in it. You can use it to bluff, you can flash it in to screw up combat math, block their guy, and it can just win the game outright with the 5 power. And in terms of creature stats, aggressive decks just can't compete with it. Then we have our Planeswalkers, one of which is brand new, Kiora the Crashing Wave, 2 copies of her. At first I didn't think she was very good, mainly due to the 2 loyalty and 4 cost, but in playing with her, she's actually pretty awesome. Her +1 protects her really well. It can deal with any kind of huge threats your opponents have on the field. Her -1 is great. You can dig a little and ramp, and the ultimate, like most Planeswalker ultimates, is just game over if you can get it off, which isn't all that unlikely since it's just 5 loyalty. Then I have 2 Jace Architect of Thought, another outstanding Planeswalker, mainly using him of course for the -2. It's great for digging and finding answers, and his +1 is also good at deterring any kind of fast aggro strategies. Then the final Planeswalker in the deck, as well as the last spell period, is Elspeth, Sun's Champion. She's demonstrated her worth in various mid-range and control builds, and she's great here as well. The tokens she creates protect her really well, and they also synergize really nicely with Voice of Resurgence, so if you have one of the elemental tokens out that it leaves behind, you can start creating huge amounts of tokens, and that voice token is going to be so huge. Her -3 isn't used all that much, but it is there in case I need to take out opponents' Blood Barons of Vizkopa or Stormbreath Dragons, or anything of that sort that the deck would have difficulty dealing with. And her ultimate is just game over, since in order to get all that loyalty, she had to create a bunch of tokens, which are then going to get +2/+2 in flying, and will just fly over and kill your opponent pretty easily. So that's it for all the spells. Moving on to the mana base. It's really straightforward in terms of dual lands, running all 12 shock lands, all 12 scry lands, and just 1 basic forest, for a total of 25 lands. So with almost every single land being a dual land, mana fixing is rarely a problem, and it allows the deck to support a wide variety of intense mana costs. And the availability of all of the scry lands with Born of the Gods also lets us avoid running any guild gates altogether. So that's it for the main board. Let's take a look at the sideboard. So first off, I have 4 Gainsay. The use of this card should be obvious. Mono blue, Esper, blue-white control. Any deck that heavily uses blue, this can counter their spells at an efficient cost. Then I have 3 copies of Last Breath. This card has been seeing more play lately. It's mainly for the aggressive decks where I need some early turn removal, just to be on the safe side. It's also good against mono black since it will get rid of their gray merchants, they're really annoying as blockers, and against other green decks since it will kill their coursers. Then I have 3 copies of Unravel the Aether. Really awesome enchantment and artifact removal. It shuffles it into their library so it gets around indestructibility with things like the gods so well. And if they have ways to bring their stuff back from the grave, shuffling into their library might actually be better. Even if they do draw it again, they'll have to cast it again and they'll be slowed down greatly. A 4th Detention Sphere helps in matchups where I just need the extra removal. Mono black with Packrat, mono blue with Thassa and Master of Waves, and just any decks that rely on a lot of redundancy in the permanents that they play. 3 Rootborn Defenses is nice against the control matchups. Supreme Verdict is really annoying as this deck does play a decent amount of creatures, so it's a good way to get around the uncounterability clause. And if I'm lucky, I could get another 1/1 cat with Vigilance, another Elspeth token, another 5/5 Wurm with Trample, or better yet, another Voice of Resurgence elemental token. And finally, I have 1 more Jace, Architect of Thought. It can be used in both control and aggro matchups. Aggro with the +1 to damper their creature's power, and control with the -2. Control usually runs 4 of him, so it's nice to be able to race them in terms of digging and card advantage with the -2. So that's it for this deck tech. Thank you all very much for watching. To see these decks in action, check out our gameplays, and also be sure to keep up with the other deck techs that we upload. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe for more Magic the Gathering content.